But unfortunately, I didn't know I had two major issues here in this photo that the doctors told me about 6 months later. And I was given some really bad news. So this is me on the right-hand side. I started going through 2.5 years of hospital visits. And as people can see on this recording, I've got no hair from the top of my head to my toes. What I went through, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It was literally the worst thing I've ever been through in my entire life. I don't mention this much, but I literally wanted to drink myself to death. Alcohol. I didn't want to be around anymore because I just didn't feel good. What they were doing to me was killing me in so many ways, and I just didn't want to be around. This is a young friend of mine, Johnny Manor. He played the highest levels of rugby league in Australia. Fit and healthy guy until he was given some bad news. Went through what I started going through here, lost all his hair, lost a lot of weight. He came back. He went into remission, and he was back playing the highest levels of rugby league in Australia. And unfortunately for Johnny, after this photo was taken, his issue came back, went back into hospital, started losing all his hair again, lost a lot of weight. He never came out. We lost him at the age of 23. So that got me thinking, I'm twice his age, half as fit. He had what the doctors considered to be the good one. I had two of the bad ones. What was going to happen to my health moving forward? So I questioned some doctors in regards to what they were putting me through, and they literally told me to get my affairs in order. I thought I was going to be okay. I really did. And I was very angry when he told me to get my affairs in order. I had to literally change my mindset from conventional medicine to things that I didn't believe in, which were naturopaths and homeopaths and chiropractors. I thought all those things were quackery because I wanted to do things to my body to get it moving in the right direction. So the first thing that I found was an alkaline diet. Totally cleaned everything up. A lot of people came out of the woodwork with products. Everyone's throwing these products at me. I mean, you name it. Super juices, antioxidants, alkaline water, nutritional supplements. And I religiously took these things for 2 years. But 2 years on that diet, I probably looked 20 or 30 years older. This here is October 2014. So Bart Cotter reaches out to me, a friend of mine. He said, I think I found something that can help. I started on the product. Didn't understand what it was, but I knew from what they told me it couldn't do me any harm, non-toxic, couldn't harm a newborn baby. Great. Could have health benefits. Even better again. It was working. It started working immediately. 12 hours later, literally overnight, the next morning, 20-year stomach issue had gone away. I had a caffeine intolerance, bloating and discomfort, all gone. By the next morning, I had 6 coffees without any problems. The light bulb went on about the third day. With what they put me through in that hospital, they did something to me that damaged all my lungs. So I had trouble breathing and talking at the same time. 3 days on the product, my lungs were functioning perfect. I had plenty of belief in 3 days. Went back to Australia, got to Sydney. Do you think I kept drinking the product? The problem was, though, JC, at that time, we had gone from being successful in traditional business, going through 2.5 years of those hospital visits, losing everything financially, to moving into my parents' granny flat in their backyard, going bankrupt, borrowing $25,000 to actually buy a van to live on the road. We couldn't afford rent, but to try and see a little bit of Australia while I was still here, because we were thinking worst case. But it was tough. We were struggling to put food on the table. We were living on a disability pension. And what happened over an 8-month period, when I was getting my blood works checked, the doctors saw improvements. So there were things happening that were improving, and that was a great sign. Drank more of these molecules. And long story short, literally just over a year on the product, this is a photo of me the day that I got the news. There was no sign of those 2 major challenges.
Incredible.
Not only that, but multiple injuries from playing sports. They were turning to that crippling issue as I was getting older, having trouble getting out of bed at the age of 44, 45, 46, because my body was so broken from so many injuries, neck, shoulder, hand, hips, back, pelvis, 20 years of pollen problems, sneezing, runny nose. 2 years later, 3 years on the product, you can see why it's the biggest breakthrough in anti-aging as well, just looking younger again as time went on. Talking about 9 years on the product now. So let's talk about antioxidants. A lot of people love antioxidants. They know they get rid of the rubbish in our body, free radicals. But everybody that we talk to doesn't know that antioxidants are useless unless activated by redox molecules that we naturally produce. Big one. Redox also detects the bacteria virus infection in our bodies. Redox balances our 12 major systems. Redox turns on and turns off genes and opens up genetic pathways, removes all the oxidation and rusting to DNA level. Nothing happens in our body without redox. Totally foundational to our health. So the problem is we're losing about 10% on average every single decade. As a child, we got 100% production. For those with children, that's why they have so much energy. That's why they heal and recover super fast. Get to our 50s, we only have 50% production. Get to 70, we only have 10% production left. These things keeping us alive. These things keeping all our cells working at optimal level. So how long would you live if you stopped producing redox right now? Some people say 10 years, some say 5, some say 2. Ask the question again, because don't forget, these things keep your cells working at optimal level. If every single living thing on the planet stopped producing redox right now, nothing would survive beyond 3 seconds.
Whoa.
Critical to life. Yeah. And the problem is, if we go back, and you can't, but I can, if you go back 50 years ago to when I was a child, when I was 5, 6 years old, toxins I was taking into my body over 1 year, we now take in every 15 minutes. 36,000 times more toxins per year.